Hey guys, what's going on today? It's your big bro Nate. Just wanted to make a video today on why nothing matters to anybody anymore. So, a lot of you guys probably feel pretty empty, okay? I've been there. There's some days where it can somewhat feel like that. And just want to make a quick video on why I think most people feel like nothing matters anymore. So, if you can relate to this, go ahead and drop a like, subscribe, comment down below on your thoughts and experiences with this. But guys, the reason why nothing matters to a lot of people anymore now, in my opinion, is because of a few major overarching themes in life now. So, the first one would be the love of money. Okay, so I think as a society and really as the world's going now, you're having people separated into two camps. So you have the haves and you have the have-nots. Most people today now are so focused on having enough money to do everything they want to and need to do. And before I go further, guys, I want to say that it's okay to have money. It's okay to be well off. It's okay to be wise. It's okay to invest. It's okay to store up for your kids, for your future family, for your current family, and things like that. But we are so hyper focused on consumerism, on having the latest and greatest, on wanting to have the dream, so to speak. We have a lot of people right now who are selling the dream. If you can relate to this, please let me know. But most people are so focused on having a millionaire's lifestyle and mansions and expensive cars that we're forgetting we're not even aware of what's right in front of us, okay? Now, again, this isn't to dog on people who have money, who are well off, but I think we're seeing a change of heart in a lot of people. We're seeing a change of mindset, okay? I remember growing up, it seemed like most people were doing, decently. They had enough to get by. They had enough to do, most of what they wanted to do. Maybe you couldn't go on expensive vacations or anything like that, but you always had enough, right? You always had food, you always had a place to stay. Yes, bills might have been tight, but it didn't seem like it is today. And the reason for that, guys, is if you just look over the last few years, obviously we've had a huge increase of the prices of things. Like everything's gone up 50%, right? So you have people worrying about money. Then you have people coming in, taking advantage of that fear, basically telling you, hey, you need to go ahead and buy my course. You need to listen to all my videos. You need to do exactly as I say. You change your whole framework. You need to become heartless, right? You need to become basically every man for himself, right? It's this divisive, fear-inducing mindset that a lot of people are taking advantage of. And so you have these people, maybe young people, right? Even people who are teenagers, right? If you're a teenager, maybe you can relate to this. If you're in your 20s, even 30s and 40s, you could probably relate to this. A lot of people feel this pressure to be someone that they don't necessarily want to be. Now, while I think money is a big problem, let's talk about one of the other problems that's huge these days, okay? Let's talk about mental health, okay? A lot of people think really nothing matters anymore because of how they feel. Well, we, at least from what I remember and just from what I researched, we didn't have this big of a mental health crisis just 10, 15 years ago. I would say even in many cases 5 years ago. Now, a lot of people blame the shutdowns in 2020 and all that kind of stuff. That might have been a big part of it, don't get me wrong. That might have accelerated some people in that direction. But I think there's more to it than that, guys. I think when you look at everything, you can't point the finger at one thing and say, this is the reason because mental health is going down the drain, or that's the reason mental health is not as good as it used to be. It's a combination of a lot of different factors, guys. We have social media at the highest influence it's ever been, right? We have something where you can log on, you can see the highlight reels of thousands, millions of people's lives. You see likes, you see how the algorithms work, you see how all of these different things work, and you see how it's pushing certain ideas and agendas. I talked about this in one of my other videos, but basically the videos that you're shown are either super positive, right, or they're super negative, okay? And oftentimes it's going to be a mix of both of those, right? Because what it's doing is it's hijacking your emotions, it's hijacking your human nature, and so you're basically hooked on those highs and the lows, okay? So you're seeing all these highlights, you're seeing everything going on, and you're like, it influences the way people think. What you start to do is you start to look at the external, right? You start to look at everything around you, social media, everybody around you, right? And you start to internalize the external things, right? You start to internalize the external validation of everybody around you. That's why you might have heard everybody's becoming a narcissist now, or everybody's out for themselves, okay? Again, this is a combination of factors. We've allowed ourselves to become ingrained with social media so much to where we are almost one with it, okay? And I think there's a kind of a dark future ahead with it. We've already had the founders of certain big tech companies come out and say, some negative things about social media and those influences. We've had people come out and do research on how it's affecting people. And it's really, in a sense, a mental health crisis that no one's really taking seriously, okay? Now, that doesn't mean you can't use social media for good purposes. I'm not saying that social media is the problem. I'm saying overall, we've put so much emphasis on it, right? And that really started with the shutdowns when we couldn't really be super social personally with a whole lot of people. Those things were shut down, and so we ended up being more online. And, I hope we come out of it. I think in some ways we are. I've noticed a huge difference in just the past 6 months. People seem more outward, they seem more outgoing, they seem more friendly, but depending on where you are and things like that, you could be more negatively affected by it. So social media, guys, money, social media, those are two big things, but really the third one, and I kind of touched on this, is really people's mentality when it comes to trying to fit in. So a big trend you're seeing today, guys, is, again, I didn't really notice this so much even 5 years ago, but now you're seeing so much influence and influencers. You're seeing so many brands, you're seeing so many top level big name companies come out and say certain things. Like the advertising is really unreal now. I'm not saying advertising is necessarily a bad thing, but when everything in life revolves around major clothing brands and having the best of the best, what ends up happening, you already have people who are strapped for money to make a living, to pay their bills. They feel super pressured by everybody around them to start buying certain clothing or certain things that they don't need, right? They end up spending 3, 4, 5, maybe more times the amount on clothing and things just to look good, just to fit in. And again, I'm not against nice things, but we are seeing a trend where people are sacrificing so much of their time, so much of their money, right? Barely making ends meet. You have a lot of people with this defeatist attitude where it's well, nothing really matters, so I'm gonna get mine. And I at least want to look good, I want to be accepted, I want to have a lot of flings, right? I want people to think I'm attractive, I want people to think that I have money. And a lot of us are living behind a mask now. It seems like more people than ever are trying to go above and beyond with how they portray themselves. And again, this all ties into the money and the social media, right? It's like a big melting pot of these things, but the money, the social media, and the need to fit in, the really pointed influence to drive people to fit in, I think that's creating this perfect storm. You're starting to see a lot of people sacrifice their values, right? You had people, maybe people who were more personable, right? Who used to be pretty chill people, and now they've kind of gone off the deep end, and now they're just obsessed with money. They're just obsessed with what they can get from people. It's become this everybody's out to get their own, so I'm going to make sure that I get mine, and no one else really matters, and everybody's got an ulterior negative motive. Everybody's out to get me, so I'm going to manipulate. I'm going to be who I need to be to get what I want, say what I have to say. There's no really sense of right or wrong anymore. It's just kind of like what I have to do to survive. You have a lot of people in this really messed up survival, mindset. It's a lot of these things are hijacking our survival instincts, and we're in this weird hybrid of fitting into a society that's, in a sense, still doing pretty well. I mean, the fact that a lot of us still have running water and hot water and electricity and a roof over our heads, and we can still afford to eat, that says a lot, guys. Like, if you look at a lot of the world, I mean, that still says a lot. But the fact that we're trying to spend so much time and money into how we look, and then into all these, flashy things, when we could be, paying off debts, when we could be investing. Don't be so caught up in the doom and gloom, like, oh, the end of the world's right around the corner. This has happened throughout history. This has happened throughout the centuries, the millennia. People think it's the end of the world back when major world wars happened, or back when major plagues happened, right? It's always been the case, but you have to be positive through it all. You have to have a mindset of, okay, this too will pass, right? There's periods of time where they're a little bit rougher. You can just look back over the last 20 years, and you can look at high points and low points just in the United States. Countries have changed, a few countries have changed drastically over the past 20, 25 years. Some countries were really cruddy places to be, like really couldn't live there. Now they're really nice. Now they're pretty, hospitable, they're habitable. You can live there if you want to, you can move there. Some places have gone the complete other direction, all right? And so don't get caught up in the doom and gloom, guys. Do the right thing, One of the things I found super helpful is, again, don't think in life in so much of extremes, but just try to do the right thing by people, okay? Try to do right by everybody you run into. Try to give, people a smile here and there, ask how their day's going, strike up a short conversation. You don't have to become best friends with everybody you meet. If someone looks like they really don't want to talk to you, or they just they're doing their own thing, maybe don't talk to them, right? But there's always a way to be social. There's always a way to communicate and socialize if you can. So guys, I just want to give you that encouragement. I think a lot of people overall think that nothing matters because of all these things that melt together. And there's more things we could talk about, guys, but those are the big three. Again, the money, the influence, and the pressure of having to fit in, right? And of course the social media, those all kind of mix together. And so really, guys, if you need to, you don't have to go extreme. Again, you don't have to delete your social media accounts, but maybe just delete the app. Maybe just take a break for a week or two, or even a month or several months, right? Focus on what you need to do in life. Focus on what you know you need to do. Everyone knows they need to do something, whether it's changing jobs, getting a job, going for what they really want to, focusing on their fitness, focusing on their health. Get to that point where you are happy and content with yourself, and then share that with the world, right? Level up, day by day. Move one step at a time. Keep moving forward, guys. And so you'll find that, in a sense, everything matters, and everything has a purpose, and you have a purpose. So guys, if you can relate, if you have any experiences or comments, go ahead and let me know below. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll be back at you with the next one.